What is up, Know Your Worth TV? I'm your host, Efrain Lozada, and welcome back to another episode. This was a little different because this was a nominee for the first annual Spotlight Award, but she's taking her time to really give back the story and her experience of what it felt like for her being part of the show, what it was to actually win, and just also give us a little bit about her story, a lot about the story, the success, some of the maybe things she'd had to overcome, because being a business owner, we know as entrepreneurs, it's just not as easy as people think it is. All right, it's not just getting an LLC or getting the EIN number. There's so much more to really sustain yearly, daily, that can really mess with your emotional, your physical, your all these type of feelings that you may have that allow you to be who you are. So Katia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, actually. I'm super excited for this conversation.
Conversation,
And all the
yeah.
questions. I'm so
Exactly.
excited.
That's so funny that you said that, because that is exactly what we're doing. We're just having a conversation. Some people may look at it as an interview, but it's really
Yeah,
just me getting to know you, as well as everyone that's watching getting to know a little bit more about you, because you're so busy that sometimes you don't have the time to tell your story, but your
that's true.
story itself can be really impactful. Someone may want to start a business, and now they get a little bit more insight on some of the things that they could encounter. So tell us about your business.
Okay, well, my business name is Postiche, but we also go by the House of Postiche. If you've never heard of the word pastiche before, it means wig in French.
Mm.
So we are actually still in the process of rebranding. Before we were called Five Star Hair Boutique. And, you know, during your journey of entrepreneurship, small businesses, brick and mortar, you kind of find yourself in the mix of that. So now we're rebranding to Pastiche. But I have a online wig boutique where you can purchase luxury human hair units, custom colored, custom designed by myself. I actually make them right here in my studio. So I will source the hair in a different
Mhm.
country, bring it to America. I will sew it, color it, all that. And I create really nice pieces for my clients for like interviews or fun conversations, going out, events, weddings, all of that. So I really enjoy that, and my mission behind it is if you see this logo here where it says we're under above pastiche, this is actually your crown. And underneath it is the comb. So obviously this has to do with hair, right?
Mhm.
But when I found myself is when I found my crown, because everybody has a crown, but not everyone can see it. So the day that I woke up and I could finally see my crown is when I realized who I was. So my job and my promise is to help you align with the woman or the man that you're trying to become, by creating you luxury pieces to fit that picture.
Listen,
That's
you
what I
took
do.
all the questions I had and you just answered them. You're too good at
Really?
this right now.
Oh my
I
God.
was gonna say, what is the meaning of prestige? But now I know. And the logo. No, that's so cool. That's really cool. And I can see this is gonna be a really good interview, because
Yes.
you're willing to share, and I thank you for that.
Of course.
But when did you realize that this was a thing for you? Like, sewing and doing hair and making people feel good about themselves, because that's actually what it is, right? Almost a therapist,
Yeah,
I would say. When you do things like
it
that, it's
is.
very therapeutical for you, but also
It
what the
is.
person may feel like. So when did you start this? How did this all come about?
I think it started in the very early stages, like the first year of COVID. Most of my followers kind of know my journey, but I started in Colorado. My husband and I moved out there. We started in Colorado, and I actually started a little mini boutique and salon in my garage and in-law suite. But
Oh.
when, yeah, the pandemic happened, we were forced to stop doing hair, and anyone that was caught doing hair during, the shutdown would be fined, or just crazy, ridiculous rules.
Yep. Yep.
So I ended up having to let go of my home salon, and I had a very deep interest in wigs specifically, because I'm like, well, how can I make my clients feel good at home without having to go to the hair salon that they can't go to right now?
Hmm.
So that's where I started implementing all of my ideas, even styles that I couldn't do on a real person's head, I could do on this wig, and just like any picture that would pop in my head that I wanted to recreate, I had that freedom to do it without worrying about somebody's job, without worrying about, oh, is it burning their scalp or anything like that. I
Hmm.
put all of that love and energy on my wigs, and my clients that couldn't come to me would purchase and purchase and purchase.
Wow.
So that grew my business pretty big. And I noticed that even though I enjoyed doing hair and making a connection with, these people one by one, I can also do the same thing on a larger scale, because not just working on one client at a time, but now I can have like 5 wigs in front of me, giving them all the desired look that the women are requesting, and then making them happy that way. And then also making myself happy, because I know what I'm doing is going to make them happy because it looks freaking good.
Yeah.
So that's where I really fell in love with just wigs overall, and how women would come in and it felt like they had like their tail tucked in, like they were just not happy with their current wig or their current hairstyle. And just the switch from just putting it on and seeing their face brighten, and they're just walking differently. Their chest is out a little bit more. They're like, you know what? I should go get some makeup. Like, I just loved all of that. It was so fun.
That's amazing. So you made the switch to come here. Are you located in what, Orlando? Is that correct
I'm
now?
located in Orlando. So I actually relocated to Orlando because our family's about 3 hours away. So I used to live here for about 10 years in like high school and middle school. So I wanted to move back here because South Florida is great, but I feel like Orlando needs more of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a lot of hairstylists, but we don't have a lot of professional wig makers and designers out here. So it worked out for me in Colorado to go where I was needed versus where kind of just like where you see it already, like,
Yeah.
Atlanta or those locations that already have a lot of hair and stuff, like go where you're needed. So
Yeah.
that's where I am currently.
Currently, because there's so much greater out there for you. Absolutely.
Might be Texas tomorrow. I don't know.
Absolutely. So are you doing like now custom pieces for people, or are you
I
just
do.
creating them and then just selling them as you go?
I do both. So in between when I'm working on current or custom orders, once I'm finished with that, I have a little bit of a window that I like to create my own style of unit. So some things can be very simple, like this, natural color, or some can be completely exotic with the dreadlocks and beads and a tower, whatever I feel like
Yeah,
that's
wow.
coming up.
And you're still doing, I'm guessing, personal installations and things like that, or you can just,
I think for me, I'm going to focus on just the product. My life has changed so much because I started this when I was 19, had my first son at 21, and I've been working, and I kind of just realized that I need to take some time to rest. So I had to let go of my services as a hairstylist, and I just started recommending like the stylists I've worked with and my salon, recommending them because I've built such a really good relationship with them. And I'm like, I don't have to do it all. I
yeah.
don't have to do it all. I don't have to be the hairstylist. I don't even have to be the colorist. I just pass on the vision. I just share the dream, and I give other people an opportunity to be a part of it and build their portfolio. And it always works out for me. So
So you built the table and now you're allowing others to sit at it.
yeah, I love it. I'm like,
Beautiful.
come on.
Yeah, and it just goes to show, especially in that world of the hair industry, there's
Yeah.
enough for all of us to eat. Like
There's
you
so
don't got to be
much.
greedy, you don't got to be hateful. Like we can all really share a seat at the table. Because hair is
Exactly.
not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
No.
It's an industry that's around forever, and I love how you were just able to pivot from, I was the individual behind the chair at all the times where you may not have the time that you have now, till
Yeah.
now you really get to be creative, show the creative side of yourself, and give yourself more time to be that woman for the family whenever you wanted to be there for your child, be there for your husband. um
Exactly. Which leads us to where we are now. I was having my downtown salon location for about 2 years, and my husband, he's been a stay-at-home father for 6 years. So for 6 years, we made an agreement that he's going to take care of the kids while I pursue my passion. and so on. So now he's working his dream job and it's full time. So my life has changed because now, we have to switch roles again. So, and I'm like, but I like this because I got to experience having a salon. Now I had to switch it up and bring it back home. But now I have more freedom in different ways.
Mm.
So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I bet that is actually a very. I mean, your husband being a stay-at-home dad, that is never easy for a man. So to have a partner that said, "You, all right, love, do what it is,
Yeah.
go chase your dream. I'm gonna do what we got to do to, sustain the home and the kids." That is actually very ideal of a man, and bigs up to him
And
for doing that.
I would recommend it because, like, now when I complain about stuff, when he comes home from work, he's like finishing my sentences. He's like, "Yeah, I know. This is what I do." Like, and so there's no arguments. There's no, oh, he doesn't understand how I feel as a stay at home mom or anything
Uh,
like that. He gets it, and
yeah.
now he'll still do these things throughout our day to make my life easier. So it just because he knows how it feels. So I thought it worked out great. I would recommend it.
That's a tough job. Listen, my wife's a stay-at-home mom, and sometimes when I come
Yeah.
home and I see her how exhausted she is, I feel so bad. It is a more than a full-time job, right?
Oh
Full-time job is
man.
like 40, 50 hours. This is an all-time job. Like there
Oh
is not turning off, you know what I mean?
no.
Overstimulated, overworked, all that when you're a
Yeah.
stay-at-home parent. So that's why I say respect to him. That is not
Yeah.
an easy task at all.
No.
Uh, so you said this happened during the pandemic where you really had to make a pivot in your business. What were some of the
Yeah.
things that you had to experience during that pivot, like mentally or physically?
I think in the beginning, you're kind of going off all of the adrenaline, the hopes, the excitement, and you kind of don't think about certain things later on because you're like, okay, well, I'll see when I get there most times.
Hmm.
But you have this vision in your head and you're just going after it, which is what I did. However, since during that pandemic, I was scared to pursue this in my house because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to still do hair or what in case may be. So I don't want this in my home. So with that being said is why we ended up getting a location. Now it's different, a lot different when you are working from home on your brand, on your business and selling products from your home to now being in a public location offering services and products. It's a
Yeah.
whole new ball game. And I went through in the beginning, the first year, just absolute chaos. Because let me turn my little thingy off. Is that my sound? Okay. Because you know, it was such a crazy time to do that. Nobody could really be in front of each other or be
Mhm.
around each other. People were closing off a lot of businesses and so on. So I lacked mentorship and I would just say I lacked mentorship. It was really hard for me to find a mentor during those times because also the industry was a little different. This is before people started selling their vendors and courses on how they got theirs, before it was just product,
Yeah.
service. So now everyone's like, well, shoot, I need something to sell, so I'm going to just sell what I know, you know, later on. But in the middle of that, I was just going kind of like blindly into things. And I'm so happy that I went through that process because I was able to learn so much. And now if I was to go in that direction again or a different direction in that same area, I know exactly how and what to do and who to bring to the table with me. So
Love it. And you spoke about mentorship. That is very good that you talk about it. I don't think I've had
yeah.
any interview where someone talks about mentorship.
Oh wow.
You went to speak. You got a mentor to really just guide you on to the next level of your business, or walk you
Mhm.
through like almost like a life coach. Like, what kind of mentor do you go after?
So the mentor that I where I went to, okay, so when I moved to Orlando, I actually went to the CEO school, which was a women's network. It wasn't just a network, but it was actually like a course that we took for 4 days to basically gut your business and rebuild it. And they introduced me into mentorship, and I wasn't really aware of it until then. So that's where I learned about a business coach for confidence, a business coach for business. I'm sorry, business coach for business, but a business coach, and so on. So the mentor with me at the time, she would do this thing where she would sit us in our seats and it's called the hot seat. And you basically tell her every issue that's wrong in your business, every problem that you have in your business. And everyone, all of your other mentees in front of you, around you, are also taking notes and telling you what they've learned and sharing that with you and sticking it on the wall.
Wow.
And that was like when I made a switch to my business. Like after that, it was just, I don't know, I'm
An eye
mentally just
opener.
blacked out. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
as
just
an
like
eye
I
opener.
blacked out and I'm like here and everything's working out really good. But um, it is confidence, but you can't give somebody confidence. I can't force you to be confident. That's
Correct.
something that I have to work on with myself. So
Yep.
one thing I really appreciated about that course, that whole session, was the first thing that we would focus on most of the time was our mental. So we would start with yoga or some type of meditation, talk about our mental health and so on. So then I started looking at the root of my problems and my feelings and using that and kind of like implementing it. I'm like, okay, so now I don't really have a problem with my confidence or this or that as much as I used to. And then it just starts progressing in all areas.
So you're definitely would say that having a mentor is ideal for someone that is in the business.
I would highly recommend a mentor. I personally would love to start a mentorship program once I kind of feel that I have all of my systems in place, because that is the key reason to why a lot of small businesses are just not doing as well as they would like to do, is because they're trying to do it on their own. And
Mm,
there's people out there that make a lot of money or don't make much money at all, but they're still willing to share everything that they know that could possibly help you. And you can pick from that. You don't have to do everything. You could pick from that.
yeah. That's some good stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, what people don't realize is through some failures in your life, those are all lessons. So when people are talking about mentorships, these mentors are people that live that lifestyle, that had to go
Exactly.
through the struggles, and they don't want someone else to go through the struggles. And ideally, that's just what a mentor is someone that can guide you because they've been there.
Yeah.
Um, so that is phenomenal that you've taken that and seen the success in it, because some people may doubt a mentor, and think like, well, I
Yeah.
don't know, do I want to pay all this money? Is it really beneficial? And in your
Mhm.
case, the answer is yes, it was very beneficial.
Oh yeah. I think
And
it personally saved my business and honestly my life. Having a mentor,
wow,
because I did not take mental health seriously at all. My family's from the islands. I'm Trinidadian and Haitian, so we don't know anything about mental health like
yeah,
that.
that is cool. I
So
appreciate you sharing, being open on that. Because there's other entrepreneurs that feel alone. And now they
yes,
know if you're feeling alone, you're feeling like you're at a roadblock, maybe take the direction of finding someone like minded. And so, going back to the mentor, have you had mentors that were not in alignment with you that you just felt that you had to cut off?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
And I think when I started, see, life is a lot easier and more simple than we really think it is. And all of the answers that we have, questions, like the questions that we have, the answers are really within. So, when you get that gut feeling, like, question it. So, like, something
Mhm.
doesn't feel right. Sometimes we ignore it because we think we're just nervous or just uncomfortable. But that's really your gut, your soul telling you something's just not right about this. And for years, I ignored it.
Yeah.
I ignored it. And to the point where I couldn't ignore it, and I realized, wait a minute, this is signals. And let me listen to it this one time and see what happens, because I haven't been listening to it since. So I started listening to it and I'm like, wow, I was right. Wow, it's true. Wow, that's how it was supposed to be. Like, everything goes smoother. But I did have issues where they weren't in alignment. And I think it was more of, they were, I know everyone's trying to, make money. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
times, like there's a lot of people who are just trying to make money. I get it. But I think for what I needed it for, it it was kind of like I wasn't the right client for that person. But most of the time, other people, I don't know their strategies, so they could either just be trying to get anyone or specific people.
Mhm.
So I think at the time I was like, you know what? what you are here for me as, I don't think I'm just might not be ready for you. I also
Yeah.
started saying that. It's not that they're not ready for me. I'm like, I'm not ready for you. Like I have to work levels to get to you. So right now we're not in alignment because I'm just not ready. And it's okay. I need to work on something else. So let me work on that and then I'll come back. But it doesn't mean that they were just like rude, disrespectful, taking advantage of me or anything like that. It's just this isn't working right now.
Yeah.
But I'll love to come back to it later.
Possibly.
Possibly.
I love that line. I'm just not ready for you. That is
Yeah.
a very good line. I have to take that. I have to take that. But that is true. That is true. It could be that maybe you're just, at they're at a different level and mind
Yeah.
space that you're just haven't got there. And like you said, it's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's timing is different. The way that we get somewhere is completely different. We all have our own ways of doing something. So
Exactly.
you hit some key points for those that may want to get into it, and especially now that mentorship and coaching and accountability
It's
buddies,
trending.
all these things. Yeah, it's a trend right now, and for good reasons. I think that we do have to find what may help us to get to the next level. Because sometimes, again, when you're in an entrepreneurship world and you're so focused that we need someone from the outside sometimes looking in to see what it is that we can do a little differently or what we're not doing enough of.
Oh,
And you kind of hit some of those moments.
plus, last thing, sorry,
Yeah, go ahead. No, this
but
is your interview, girl. Say whatever you got to say.
the reason why I look at mentorship as something that I would offer, I do the result is helping somebody, but really for me, it's actually having one more person that understands how to do what the hell I just did.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to hiring, when it comes to bringing people on your team, you have to train them. But if you can offer that prior to them ever stepping foot into your business, you just made life and that team member 10 times better. Like it just makes it more of a graceful process. So as I'm going into my business, I'm realizing that nobody has ever did it how I am doing it. So of course, I'm not going to be able to find that in anyone right now
Yeah.
unless I mentor them and train them. So that's where I'm going now is products and education. So that's really my mission behind mentorship is like, I want to make more of me.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, we're given a gift not to die with, but to continue
Yeah,
to pour back into people as we learn them.
exactly.
So that's cool that you're willing. You're not a selfish person. I can see.
No,
It's like, hey, I can teach multiple people because at the end of the day, you're only growing by teaching others, right?
exactly.
So I do want to get into you taking this different approach in with hair
Yeah.
from the time that you made that pivot to where you are at today, because I don't want people to think it was just an overnight thing. You started wigs and boom, you blew up.
Oh,
What was the time frame before you started to realize you were onto something?
this year. I'm not
Wow.
even joking.
Wow.
This
And how
year.
long ago was it that you started? You said pandemic time, 2020?
Yeah, I started this well, I was doing this in 2019
Okay.
and I left Colorado to Orlando in 2020. So it took about 3 years. And you have to
Wow.
think, you got to give yourself some time, man, because
Mhm.
I'm saying 3 years, but that could be a lot faster than what it could have been
Yep.
the way I was going before. But you have to kind of give yourself grace. We are going through so much with the economy, the personal home, like there's so much constantly going on that it's okay that you're not consistent all the time. It's okay to like take breaks. So I noticed that if I work on something for a week straight, I get it done, but it's not good, not the best.
Yeah.
But if I work on something 2, 3 times out of the week, it comes out 10 times better than I envisioned because I'm allowing
Mm.
myself to have those breaks. It's okay.
I love it. Yeah. Talk about it. Those breaks. Yes, 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 yes. Because I always go, this is my tagline is that we all want the Amazon effect. We need it
Yeah.
now. It needs to be done
Yeah.
now. And you found the time to say it does not need to be done now. Like
Mm-mm.
I have to take my time. Because it just has to make you feel good as a
Yeah.
person, right? Not
Yeah.
just the client, but what does it make you feel internally? Because in order for you to continue to produce at your highest and give that service to your customer or that product to your customer, you ideally have to feel good within yourself. For anyone that has a business that is doing something when it comes to product or services, that you do have to just take that time and sometimes to just rethink, right? To just
Yeah,
stand back and look at what you're doing, to figure
exactly.
out, is there anything that I'm missing, anything I need to add, or am I taking the right steps? Is this for me? So that's really,
Mhm.
really you dropping some gems right now for sure for
Thank
those
you.
that are
I hope
listening.
so.
That is some good stuff. So 3 years it took for you to get to where you're at now. And what are some of the long-term goals that you have now with the rebranding?
Okay. So, I have a lot. Okay. You
Love
said
it.
three. Okay. Anyways, the
No, say
first thing
whatever,
here.
as many as you want. I don't care how many.
Okay.
This is about you. About you.
So I have a business partner that potential business partner. We have an amazing friendship, just sisterhood, and on top of that, we mentor each other, and she helps me a lot with my business currently. I would like to open up a location probably in Texas, and I want it to be a wig and cosmetology program where I teach students how to make like from scratch, from ventilating each strand of hair on the cap to sewing the cap to coloring to all of that. And then
Wow.
also we can serve women who are undergoing chemotherapy, who are having hair loss, postpartum, all of that. We create a safe place with that. So they're servicing these women, they're creating units for these women, and it's at I don't know if you know the price of a medical wig, probably not, but medical wigs can go up to $13,000. I've seen it. And I'll be very honest with you, they do not look good. So, with that being said, I would like to create a program for them to come, basically like a Veda. You have your Veda Institute,
Mhm.
and you're offering your services at a discounted price based on the student level. So, I would like to create that in my community for wigs specifically, but I would love to have a cosmetology program with it, just in case they wanted to do both curriculums. So I would love
So
to open up a look.
really quick, really quick. I'm always one to say we have to manifest these things, and it's not what I would like to do, it's what I am going to
What
do,
I am doing.
because we have to speak that into life so that when it
Yeah,
happens, it's like, I've been saying this, I've been saying this
yeah,
is what I'm going to go do. So
of
everything
course it
she said is
happens.
what she's going to be doing long term.
Yes.
And she's working on it mentally, whether it's physically, she's putting it out there.
Thank
So
you.
for sure.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
wait, I take it back. Put it this
yeah.
way.
It's one of the things I've learned is really being careful of what you say to yourself,
Yes.
what you say to
Because
yourself.
like
And
sounds indecisive
yeah,
now that
absolutely.
I say it.
And then when you think about the mind is it's taking that back and like, oh, can I really do this? So you want to say, no, I'm going to do this. And going
Yeah.
back to that confidence, having the confidence to say that I could do this, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. And then you start to move a little differently. So anyone that is really talking about what they would like to do is no, it's like, what are you really going to do?
Yeah.
Because by wanting to do and going to do, that's the difference between you actually executing or making excuses. And you're going to
Exactly.
execute. You're not making no
Yes.
excuses. You got this.
And
You got
there's none.
this.
So yeah, that's what we're doing actually. And
Yeah.
it is what we're doing. I mean, I'm basically writing up, the workbook and everything. So I'm technically already doing it.
That's amazing. So when you think about working, this is really good stories. Working out of your garage, having a little boutique, a little salon, is this where you've seen yourself?
This is honestly, that's such a good question because there has been so much that went on in this entire month. It's just very eventful that where I started, I saw it, and I'll be honest, I didn't even think I was going to get where I was at that point. Like, I didn't even think that my salon was going to look the way that it looked. Like, I didn't think I was going to have these amazing people working for me for this amount of time. And, I didn't think that I would be working with, like, I just did not know that I would go that far. And I think that's a really bad mindset to have. And I don't want to say it was like you know, I don't think it's going to happen. I was still hoping for it and manifesting it. But when I see it happen, it's like, oh, whoa, that's real. So now that has changed to, I know it's going to go even farther than this because look
Mhm.
what I did in this amount of time. Well, I try not to focus on time, but still give myself credit for look what you did in this amount of time.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're going to stop there? No,
Yeah.
we keep going and it's going to get better and better.
And back to what you said, I didn't see that it looked like this. I didn't see that I had people on staff, but you did have a vision. It's just
I
sometimes
did.
our vision is not the actual vision for us. It's even sometimes even greater than what we have. And I think
It
that
is.
that's what happened to you, right? You had this vision, but
Yeah.
now when it manifested itself, you're in awe because you're like, man, like I had a vision, but this is thank you. Like, thank you. This is so much greater than what I ever asked for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And it's crazy too, because when I first, before I relocated to Orlando, I was like, let's just find a house with an in-law suite like here so I can keep doing, because I was doing so well, but I was so scared to let people back into my house. And
Yeah.
I was just getting into wigs at that time, like really, taking it seriously and consistently. So now that I look at the mapping of how everything was, from moving here, buying this home and selling that home, and buying this home and selling that home, to now being here, to where exactly what I said I wanted 4 years ago. That's insane. So it's just like a lot of waking up and eye openers, because I'm like, whoa, at the end of the day, this is what I wanted. And this is how I was always at my highest.
Mhm.
So
It just took
it's
time, like you
crazy.
said. It took time, took
Took
patience.
time, a lot of
Yeah,
falling apart, a lot of breaking down, a lot of
yeah.
madness.
Asking yourself why not?
Why
What is going
me?
on?
Yeah. So
Yes, being very transparent. I love it. No, and people don't see that, right?
no, and also people don't see that it's nice having a great salon. It looks pretty, but it is not easy. It is not for the weak. And that's not something I would go into by myself ever again. I would go in with investors. I would go in with another business partner and go just together, because going through all that, I went through all of that literally alone for years. And it wasn't up until this year where I started having more support from one of my friends, and because I let her. Before, you try to do everything on your own, try to be Miss Independent, you don't allow yourself to be in the receiving mode for people to help you and actually make your vision come true, because you're trying to prove something, right?
To who, right?
So
And to who? Who are you really trying to prove something to, right?
I don't know. So it's like you go through this. I've had terrible accountants, I've had terrible employees, I've had people try to hack my account. It just goes like, things just happen. You have people try to break into your salon, and it's like things where I would think, I'm like, that wouldn't happen. Little old me, that wouldn't happen, and it happens. And then you go through it, and you're like, man, I didn't think about this part. I wasn't preparing myself for stuff like this, because you only think about the vision so much, but you don't think about the potentials of other things going wrong and how you can prepare for it. Sometimes you don't want to think about it because it's too negative, but it's like you should, so that you can prepare.
Mm.
So, yeah.
That's a lot. Now, you also did
Yeah.
mention that you have a staff, you have partners. Do you feel once you let either hire that first person or collab with that first person, that you were able to see a lot more doors open as well, because now you have a lot more weight off your shoulders?
Yeah, actually, one of my best assistants, she's currently moving to Atlanta, but she has literally been my right hand in a lot of the things that I've done, and helping me keep everything together and keep that vision alive and feeding that vision. And it's not easy to come across people like that, but you have to give them a try. How I met her was, I was just walking in the coffee shop, and she
Mhm.
loved my hair color. Something of me just being myself. She loved that. And she approached me and we started talking, followed me on social media, was just, hey girl, if you ever need help, let me know. And while I was going through my process of building, I'm like, man, she's such a sweet girl. Like, let me give
Yeah.
her a chance. And that was like the best decision I ever made. So it helped a lot. It took a lot of stress off my shoulders. She's very, when it comes to hiring, you want to think of course, the things that you write a list of the things you like to do. You write a list of the things you don't like to do. And that's the things that you don't like to do is what you pass down to somebody else. You pay somebody else to do that. So that's basically what I did. So the customer service, she was amazing at that. She would call, And it took 7 employees to find that one. That
I'll
was
tell you if you answer my questions because I was gonna ask you. This wasn't the first one though. Like, how long did
no,
it take you to get there?
no.
Wow.
It took about 7 employees to get that one golden
So
nugget. And
I'm gonna take it here. Were those seven mostly people you knew?
mm, one. One
One
of
of them.
them was somebody I knew.
Okay.
And then the other one was somebody that knew them. And then the rest were people who I would like. Another person was somebody I, like a accountant's office.
Yeah.
And, she still liked hair. And then I was like, great vibe, all that. And then the other people were just like off Instagram.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Because a lot of times people want to hire within their circle, but
Don't
not
do that.
anyone in your circle has the right intention. First of all,
Actually, you're right. I did that. No, you're right. I did do that probably a few times. People like I knew personally, even family at times. And I was like,
yep.
oh, baby, you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if any, and it's so hard because you want to bring everybody up,
Yeah. And I
but
hate firing people. Like, that's just the worst feeling for
yeah.
both of us.
For both of us. It is, but sometimes it's the best thing you can possibly do. If you see something
It
is just
is.
not right and it's not in alignment with what you got going on, and it's
Yeah.
not within your vision, and your energy is being
Yeah.
also messed up with or messed with, you got to pull the plug, because
Yes.
that's the difference between you falling down or you going up. So I'm happy that you were able, out of seven, find the one that was
Yeah.
the one, and now having to go probably find someone else that can fill
I
that those
know.
big shoes.
Exactly. So that's why I was like, you know what? A lot of what I'm doing, and here's the thing for anyone who's interested in being a salon owner, but then also still behind the chair or creating, like making wigs. I'm not the only person out here who's making wigs and doing hair. And I will say, at first I'd be like, you can't do it all. And then I would say you can, but honestly, you do have to choose what works best for you. Like me, doing hair, I'm really good at. My clients freaking love me, and it really breaks their heart to have to depart again like that. But unfortunately, I was losing a lot of weight. I wasn't taking care of my mental health. I wasn't taking care of my health. I was always sick, having rashes, breakouts. I suffered from a miscarriage. Like my body just could not take doing it all. And it
Okay.
took rock bottom for me to realize I have to let something go. So now, do I keep pushing myself and wasting my 20s trying to beat a dead horse in a way? Or do I calm down, or do I like cut back and preserve my 20s to really figure out myself and figure out the direction I want to move in, and then just take time to be present? Like it's not a race. I could have everything that I'm dreaming of or whatever at 40, 50, 60, 29, 30. It really doesn't matter as long as
Yep.
I did it right. So, or even if a part of it never gets done. But
That's
yeah,
so good that you said that. So first of all, I'm going to ask: are you still in your 20s?
I'm 28, yeah.
You got so much life to
Why?
live. I'm just
Okay.
saying, you got so much life to live when you really think about what you've been able to accomplish at 28 years old. One of the things that a
Exactly.
mentor told me, I remember my first failure in business, and I was so heartbroken because anytime that you have to
Oh.
um, fail and close a door, you feel like you failed, right?
Yeah.
And when I was trying to get angel investors to keep the business open and do all these different things. And he's like, listen, you're 20. I think I was 22 or 23 at the time. You're
Oh
22,
wow.
23. There's people twice your age that are still asking themselves, what if? He says, you did it.
Mm,
Take the L, which is really the lesson. Some people think
yeah.
it's loss. Take the lessons in life that you learned through this journey,
Yeah.
and now you can implement it onto the next journey or the next business that take on. And so I say at 28 years old, everything that you've been able to accomplish, like you really just getting started. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You really
You're
just
right.
getting
You're
started.
right.
So I
I'm
can't
just
wait to see what it looks like, hell, in another 5 years. By the time that
exactly.
you are 35 years old, it seems like you have a really good support system.
Yeah.
You built yourself a good foundation, and it took time, as you mentioned, it took time.
Mhm.
But if this is what you're doing at 28 years old, I mean, kudos to you, because some
Yeah.
people have even started. They still have, they remember the telling of what I'm going to do versus the
Yeah.
I can do this. You
Yeah.
said I'm going to do this, and you literally every single time you said I'm going to do this, you've done it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that speaks volume on who you are. And if you
Thank
continue with that
you.
same mindset, yeah, I mean, sky's the limit for sure, for sure.
I
Mm.
agree. I agree. And I like to share my story. I kind of took a break because sometimes we have to just be present and not have always, recording everything. And I just like to, I've got addicted to the feeling of just being present and just enjoying the moment without really everyone knowing every single thing going on in your life. Because when that happens, then you feel like you have to share everything, even stuff you don't
Hmm.
really feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not necessary, you don't have to do that. But
Hmm.
yeah, so it's all about finding a balance too. I show them a little something, focus on my business, show them a little family, show them a little this, and then it's just memes for the next week. And
Yeah.
I'm
You're speaking.
happy.
Yeah, that's really good that you're speaking. People think that they have to
Mm-mm,
keep up, right? Producing content, holding conversations. But all that is very draining, and it leads you to that rock bottom point sometimes, because you're
yes,
so consumed on someone else's, life and story, that while you're pouring into others, no one's pouring into you. And now here
exactly.
you are, empty glass, and dehydrated at this point,
Yeah,
and now you have to
right
you
out.
have to take that
Yeah,
time and got to get back to what it really was for. What was the purpose for me to even be doing this?
exactly.
Why am I even doing this? And think to yourself like that. So I'm the same, very similar. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not posting. My friends like, man, you stop posting. I'm like, listen, I just love to live in the moment.
Yeah,
It's something
I'm
about
just
living in the
enjoying.
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just enjoying it. And then I also I love to, you want to give back and you want to watch other people and see what they're doing and, give them the love. But sometimes it's like, oh, Lord, it's a lot. And it doesn't mean anything personal. But even myself, I'm trying to cut back from being on my phone so much because it also affects with your creativity. You start
Hmm.
seeing people that do similar things to you and doing it in different ways that they've learned and it looks
Yep.
really good. And you're like, well, I should do that. I should try that. No, you should do what you wanted to do originally
Yep.
and just keep moving.
Come on now, let's talk. um we are coming at 42 minutes. This is a really good conversation, I must say. Let's talk about the experience you had at the first annual Spotlight Award. You happened to be one of the nominees. You also did win. First of all, what did that feel like
Yes.
for you to be nominated and then to also take home the win?
Well, I actually have my, let me see if I have it here. Ooh. I have my award here. I
Beautiful,
have it hung up
beautiful.
in my office. But it's actually like, I think, is this like the first award I've ever had? I think so. I'm not too sure, but I think this is like the first award I've had. And it was funny because for a while, I don't make as much content as I was at that time. But before I was like, man, I make so much content. People love my content, but I feel like I don't really get any recognition for it. And then this happened, and I was like, whoa, it kind of like answers your questions to what you're doing. And I
Hmm.
felt like, okay, I feel recognized, not like I need a award for everything I do or just, to keep me going. But at the time, I was like, man, it would be really cool if we were included. And they literally had a whole event for content creators in
Yep.
Orlando. So that was an amazing experience. And I felt so honored.
Yes, yes, and it's amazing what the content creator experience is doing, and really that's their mission, right? Is to bring creatives and bring a community around those that are creating content, that are fashion bloggers, that are designers, that are hairstylists, that are entrepreneurs, that are photographers, videographers. Because a lot of times we do feel like we're in our own bubble. But when you get around each other and get to see what everyone is doing and how you can either collab or how you can just be filled with so much energy and so much excitement to go back and execute at whatever it is that you're doing, I think
Yeah.
it's so dope on what they're doing. And I'm pretty sure the experience when you were there at the award, what was the energy like in that room? What was that experience like?
The energy was it was amazing, honestly. Everyone was just really good spirit, very welcoming, very loving, just like laid back. Nobody was, awkward or weird. And then also how we engaged with one another. I love that when I was at, when I first got in there, that I think it was early in the morning, not early in the afternoon. We were sitting around this table and we were just talking to one another and introducing each other and like sharing stories and all that. And I was like, man, this feels good because I can't do this at like, Thanksgiving. Like it's different. Like we got food, we got drinks, everyone's having a good time. We're just talking about all the stuff we've learned at this event and that event and just chit chatting and networking. And it just felt awesome. I don't have a lot of entrepreneur friends. So I kind of have a very tight circle because they can't really relate. My current friends don't really relate to a lot of what I'm doing or what I'm going through. So when I share my stories, they kind of just freeze up because they're like, I don't even know what that's like. I can't
Mhm.
give you any advice, but love you. And that's okay.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
try.
That is a very, very, very accurate statement when you talk about where you're at sometime where two of your friends are. But it's so
Yeah.
happy to know that they still love you either way. Like
Oh, yeah,
whether they
absolutely.
understand what you're talking about, like I love you, but whatever you said, like I
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about.
All
And you
right, let's
love
go get
them
ice
for who
cream.
they are. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That is so cool. So are you going to be attending the second annual Spotlight Award this year?
I don't think I'll be taking joining the event this year. I'm gonna be taking the next 2 months off in the summer. I'm mainly with my kids, but after the summer, I like to do some traveling and all that, and then I'll have more help after school.
What a beautiful thing to know that you get to take the summer off to be with your kids. How important is
I
that?
said that. I said that, and I'm like that sounds like a privilege. Like that's not very
It
often. I
is.
really need to cherish that. So
That is
yeah,
amazing. And that you put your kids in and like I want to be there present, especially during the time of summer. Be there
yes,
present and spend that time because we don't know what life brings, right? We don't know when we can have these type of moments. So kudos to you. I mean,
thank
you're
you.
28 years. I'm trying to tell you, you are 28 years old, and this is the mindset that you have. You on to something so much
Thank you.
greater, and I know you already see greatness within yourself, but I think when it happens, you're going to be even in more awe. You're already in awe of what's kind of being presented to you now, but I
Yeah.
think you're in more awe when you see like, oh my god, like I know I
Oh,
had this vision, but like look
like
at
look at
this,
this.
right? Yeah, look what I've been able to manifest by just being me, authentically you. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, while still providing for others. So
Yeah.
this is some amazing,
Well,
amazing things
thank
that you got going on here. Um,
you.
just because I don't want to take up too much of your time, I know you're a busy woman. You got a lot of executing to do to build these businesses. I
Yeah.
do ask that one question at the end of every episode, and is what is that know your worth moment that allowed you to know that this is you, this is what you'll be doing for the rest of your life?
I think it was probably when I made the decision to where I had not made the decision, but I had to come to the decision to close down my salon and change positions. Is realizing that no offense to anyone or to anyone who is a salon owner, but for me, I was like, this isn't big enough. So this is why it's not working in your favor because it's not big enough. You had something in, you manifested something different from what you're doing. And you need to move in that direction. And it's, as much as I love doing it, it felt safe. Having a salon at the time felt very safe and comfortable because it's something I see often. But for what I'm doing, I don't see it done. So it kind of makes you a little scared to kind of step and completely trust, go into faith and follow that. But I had to sit with myself and realize that I'm more than that. Like I'm doubting myself at that point. So you're telling yourself that what you envision, you can't do it. But then don't get mad if somebody else says the same thing to you because that's what you say to yourself every day, chasing up your
Mm,
dream. So
let's go. Yes, I love it. Well, thank you so much, guys. This is just one of your nominees that actually won the award last year. really get to still again share her story on what that looks like, even as an award winner, even after all the success, letting you know that there is still some troubles that you will encounter on a journey of success, because it's about not just getting there, but how do you maintain it, and then push forward to then allow others to really sit at your table. You created that table. You created a table where now other people are really able to sit alongside you and take this journey, and you're learning from them as much as they're learning from you. So don't be selfish. Continue to pour in what you're learning through your experiences. It would just help somebody save time, and allow you to even gain little insight of maybe other things that you did not know. So we definitely thank you for your time. We thank the Content Creators Experience for allowing us to collab in this sense and in this matter. And we hope that you guys actually show up to the second annual Spotlight Award. It is going to be hosted in Miami, June the 28th. Make sure that you guys get your tickets at Content Creators EXP. You also want to go ahead and follow their social media, Content Creators EXP, and just see a lot of more dope interviews of people that are just like you, that look like you, that have a story like you. And that's what the platform has really been created. So don't forget to actually also subscribe if you're still watching with us here. And thank you so much for your time. Time is everything, and for you to give me 50 minutes of your time and share your story is going to be really inspirational for someone else. So we
I
thank you.
also
This
have
has
to
been
thank
Know
my
Your Worth
kids.
TV. Say it again.
Yeah, I said I have to thank my kids. They gave us the 50 minutes.
Are they
They were
there with
taking a
you?
nap. Yeah, I was like,
Oh,
I'm like, I'm gonna butter them up. I'm gonna give them all the treats, the snacks, let them watch TV. And then I like put them down for a nap, and we had an agreement, and they have not interrupted us since this interview.
I would
So
have never known. I would have never known.
yeah, they are knocked out.
So you see, she's a busy
So
woman. Not only is she doing this, running the business, and taking care of the kids.
yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you
But
so
thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you. This is Know Your Worth TV, guys. My name is Ephraim. Continue to watch and support. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.